Welcome back to Andersen Acres. We're inside here with Gemini today, and today we're going to talk about culling, not killing, culling. All right. Um, Sometimes people think that culling means to kill your rabbit or your cow or whatever. That's not what it means. Okay, we are not talking about that. Um, Culling really means it's essentially sorting your animals into their purposes, deciding which rabbits are suited to what life. So you might be keeping rabbits for breeding, you might be having show rabbits, you might be having meat rabbits, you might be raising pets. Whatever it is you're raising, you have a criteria. All right, every breeder does. Everyone who breeds rabbits has a criteria and something that they're looking for in each of their rabbits. Okay? Yeah, you have fur in your eye, baby. Anyway, so what we're talking about is how to cull, how to make that decision. How you make that decision will entirely depend on your own goals. So I've shifted priorities in the last year or so. I am moving towards breeding blue-eyed whites, and she is Vienna marked, so she has these beautiful blue eyes. I also need to trim your nails, honey. But she has these gorgeous blue eyes that are just fantastic, and I am going to be breeding blue-eyed whites. That's my goal here. Blue-eyed rabbits, blue-eyed Holland lops in general, but I want to breed blue-eyed whites. Now, she's Vienna marked, which means she carries that blue-eyed white gene. She just doesn't have two of them. She only has one of them. And because she is Vienna marked, so she has these blue eyes and these white marks, she can't be shown. Okay, but she can still produce beautiful kits. And she does. So that is my primary goal right now with the lops. With the Rexes, it's different, but I'm only going to talk about the lops today. But in your own program, you have to decide what your priorities are and how do you decide who you're going to keep, who you're going to sell, who you're going to keep for breeding purposes, who you're going to keep for show. And it really depends on what you do. So proper culling is how you refine your herd. So, for example, we have a Rex. He's actually a half-breed. He's half Rex, half New Zealand. Sorry, I couldn't remember what his other half was. But we have Mr. Otterton, and he's a lovely rabbit, and we keep him, but he's considered culled because he's neutered. He is not in our breeding program at all. He can't be. He's neutered, and it's a good thing because we do not want his genes in our breeding pool, but he's still a wonderful rabbit and a wonderful pet. So he's perfectly fine, and we love him, but he's not for breeding. He's considered culled, even though he's going to live out the rest of his life with us, just because he's not in our breeding program, he's not for our show program. I don't raise meat rabbits. So because of that, he's considered culled. There are many different reasons to cull, and that'll depend again on why you're raising animals. So if you're raising rabbits for meat, for example, you might not care as much about perfect conformation. You might not care about certain traits that people breeding for show would have, but you might really care about how big they get and how much meat they carry. So you don't want to breed a rabbit that just carries a whole bunch of fat all the time because he'll pass that to his offspring. So if you're breeding for meat, you may simply be breeding for the rabbit that carries the most meat and gets the biggest. So you will cull or sell or possibly process the rabbits that don't meet your criteria. You will cull them and go forward with the ones that refine your herd and that give your rabbits the best chance of producing the best kits for you. Okay? So I breed right now. I'm breeding the lops for Blue Eyes. So she is currently pregnant. Again, I'm filming these kind of out of order. So you might, when this video is posted, it's possible you've already seen a video of her babies because these videos are posted a little bit out of order. That's okay. Don't worry about that. So she's pregnant because I am shifting gear and I still want show quality lops. So I want rabbits that have good conformation, nice, good wide butts, good ears. I still want all of that, but I specifically want blue eyes. So out of her children, so she was bred to another Vienna carrier. So some of her children will be blue-eyed whites, some of them will be Vienna marked, and some of them will be standard. So I am breeding for blue eyes. I really want to breed for blue-eyed whites, but I also want to keep a couple of interesting color blue-eyed rabbits. So out of her babies, anyone who's not blue-eyed will be culled. That means I'll sell them as pets. Okay? If they're standard, so there's no blue eye, no Vienna, no trace of Vienna mark, they could be sold as show rabbits if they have the proper conformation and all the proper types and everything, with the caveat that it's possible they're a Vienna carrier. So a Vienna marked rabbit can't be shown because they violate, like she's a black otter, but she's Vienna marked. So she has a lot of white ticking. She's got white mark here. What is Capricorn doing? Crazy. Get off. He's up on my desk. He's an idiot. I love him, but he's dumb. Anyway, so she can't be shown because of that, because she's got the white on her nose and the white on her head and the little whites on the feet. Okay, she's got black nails, so that's good because you want the black nails, but she has white markings elsewhere, like here. So she has white markings elsewhere. That means she's not showable, but she produces beautiful kits. So she has children that have won at shows, because even a Vienna carrier can be shown if they don't express any of the Vienna. But a rabbit that expresses the white or the blue eyes, unless it's a blue-eyed white, can't be shown. So I am going to be breeding for the blue eyes. If they don't have blue eyes, I will sell them. If that baby is a standard, so he has no Vienna mark at all, then I can sell him possibly as a show rabbit, depending on his quality. With the caveat that if he carries the Vienna gene and it's suppressed, so it doesn't express itself, with the caveat that the babies he throws could express Vienna. Okay? I'm going to go into Vienna in more detail maybe after her babies are born. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to do it because people have asked. But anyway, we're talking about culling today. So I'm going to cull any of her babies that don't have blue eyes. That's the first thing I'm doing. I'm going to sort the babies into blue eyes and not blue eyes. The not blue-eyed are getting sold because I'm not keeping Holland lops that do not express blue eyes anymore. So they'll get sold. They're going to be culled. They will not be killed. They are going to go to new homes, pet or show homes, depending on the rabbit, and go from there. I will keep the blue-eyed ones and let them grow up for a couple of months. Usually I sell rabbits from 8 to 10 weeks old. If I'm considering keeping one, I keep it till it's about 4 months, and then I sell if it's not what I want. So I will keep her blue-eyed babies around a little bit longer, watch them develop, see who I want to keep, because I do want to keep a blue-eyed boy and a couple of blue-eyed girls, because I have a blue-eyed boy and someone with blue-eyed girls, and we'll just kind of mix and match. Like we'll breed my boy to her girls and her boy to my girls kind of thing. Or we might just trade boys. We actually might do that. We might just trade boys. But I do want to keep a blue-eyed boy. So because those are my criteria, I'm going to cull anyone who doesn't fit that particular criteria. So once you've kind of decided who to cull, you want to separate out those you're not going to keep. Okay, and in my case, that'll be, I'll separate out everyone who's not blue-eyed and sell them first. If I for sure know that I'm going to sell them, sell them. And if I'm not sure, then you want to keep them a little while and wait till they're 3 to 4 months old, so 12 to 16 weeks old. Because here's the thing, we've all done it. We have sold a rabbit that has later turned out to be something we would have kept if we'd known what it would develop into. So it is impossible to know at 6 weeks old how a rabbit's going to grow. It is impossible to look at a 6-week-old rabbit and absolutely with no hesitation say, yep, that's a show rabbit. No way to tell. So because of that, one, I don't sell at 6 weeks. Even at 8 weeks, it is so hard to tell. It's very difficult to predict that. You kind of need to wait for the rabbit to be 12 to 16 weeks old to know for sure. So if you are looking to refine your herd and there are some you think you might keep, you definitely want to double check at 12 to 16 weeks old before you sell them so you don't regret selling somebody. So my criteria, I've already said eyes, right? So that's going to be my first criteria because I am moving over to breeding for blue-eyed. That doesn't mean I'm going to sacrifice everything else. So in lops, one of the things they check for is the ears. They want to make sure the ears are good, they're the right length, that they've got a nice wide crown. She does have a nice wide crown. Okay, all my lops do. So you want to I still need to look at the things that make a rabbit, a Holland lop, a good rabbit. So she is a good Holland lop, not because she's Vienna marked, but because she's got good conformation and her butt is nice and wide and her face has a certain slope and her ears are certain length and, stuff like that. So she is a good rabbit because of that, not because she has blue eyes. So I want to maintain her niceness, her qualities, and even enhance her qualities with the boy she was bred to. She was bred to a Vienna marked boy. So I want to preserve her qualities and even enhance her qualities, but get that blue eye in there. Okay, so culling is not about just killing off your herd. That's absolutely not what culling is. It is refining your herd to make sure that you are breeding for what works for you, right? So you're breeding for what you need and not just indiscriminately breeding, because none of us should be indiscriminately breeding rabbits. There's far too many baby rabbits out there that don't have homes as it is. So if you're going to breed, you need to breed to a certain standard. You need to breed for a purpose, which I do. So culling is not just discarding those rabbits. It's finding the best situation for that rabbit. Not every rabbit should be a breeder. Not every rabbit is a good mother. Not every male is a good stud. So you really do need to be kind of picky when it comes to your rabbits. Cull those you're not going to keep. And that usually means finding another home for them. Or in our case, Mr. Otterton's neutered. We love him, but he's not for breeding. Not every rabbit has to be for breeding. They can be for pets, or they can just be because you love them. So when you hear someone talk about culling their herd, culling their fluffle, don't take that to mean they're killing them, because they're not. Okay, that's not what that means. Now, if they raise meat rabbits, then yeah, that kind of does mean that they are going to process the ones they're not going to keep for breeding for meat. So that's kind of why they're breeding them. But outside of that, a rabbit that is being culled because it's not quite a show rabbit is probably going to be sold to a pet home. Okay, it's not going to end up thrown on the side of the road, or it's not going to end up drowned, or any of the other things I've heard people say they think people do when they cull a rabbit. Nobody does that. Okay? A rabbit that has been culled from a breeding or show home is likely being sold to a pet home to make somebody very happy for the remainder of their life. So don't panic when you hear people say they're going to be culling their herd. It just means downsizing and being picky about it. That's all that means. It just means making your herd a little bit smaller by eliminating the ones you definitely don't want to breed. Okay? Don't panic when you hear somebody say culling. It's normal. Okay? It does not mean that they're slaughtering all their rabbits that they don't want to breed. That's not what that means. Especially if they are a breeding or a show home. Okay? Breeders don't do that. That's a waste to them. They don't just get rid of what doesn't work. They sell it, or if they're meat rabbits, they'll process them for food, things like that. They're not just out there drowning rabbits in sacks, which is something somebody asked me about. They said, is that how people cull rabbits? The answer is no. No, that's not what culling rabbits means. Anyway, that is all I wanted to say about culling. I just wanted to clarify what it is, talk about some of my standards that I have since I've changed directions a little bit, and we'll be breeding blue-eyed Holland lops because they're gorgeous and because she is such a good mama anyway. That is about it for us here today at Andersen Acres. We'll see you tomorrow.